If you've watched my channel for a long time, you know that I love the Warrior 3S. I think it's just a really great light with great run times, an efficient driver, tons of throw, a great emitter by default, and a good UI. Then along comes the Warrior Mini. Now, the Warrior Mini is a better size, but this one has more throw. This one has, more lumens. It's not worth it to me yet. But now is the newly announced Warrior Nano. And for the first time, I think I'll go this way. I think I'm going to move off the big one and get to the small one. Welcome back to Olight, the new Warrior Nano. Now, it doesn't say Warrior 3 or anything. It's just Warrior Nano because it's the first version in this size, but it is related to the Warrior 3 line back here, the Warrior 3S and the Warrior 3 Mini. In fact, the Warrior 3 Mini and the Warrior Nano heads are interchangeable. I took it off this light and stuck it on this tube and vice versa. So they are completely compatible with each other's body tubes. However, the emitters and the UI and a couple of things about it are different, so they're not the same head. This is definitely a new version. The switch is similar. Well, let's dive into it. We'll talk about this stuff as we go. But I wanted to point out right at the top that this Warrior Nano is the evolution of design here, and they've made some changes that I think are for the better, but the size is really the selling point, right? So how big is it? It is tiny. Okay, if you know anything about American customs, you know that the Boss light, the overalready Boss, is known to be one of the smallest customs on the market. And look at it. Look how this one is not as tall, not as wide, and lighter weight. This was over 100 grams for an aluminum Boss, and this was 86 grams with the battery, with the clip, with the adapter. Very lightweight. Tons of output. This guy with the emitter config that's in there and the battery that's in there, I get about 1,500 lumens somewhere in there, and that's what this does on its single emitter. So this is an amazingly tiny light with a ton of features and a ton of output. All right, here's the box it comes in, and inside the box you got a tray, and we've got the manual, an MCC charging cord, and the L adapter. This is the one that double sticks onto a surface and then you can hang the light, right? Sorry, I misspoke. Here's the manual. I already had it out of the box because, well, I've already done a review on it. So, yeah, it comes with the safety warnings and then the manual. Let's get into talking about the UI. The UI is the most configurable version of the Warrior yet. It has a metal side switch and a tail switch, which is what the Warrior line is known for. However, what's great about this is there's two different mode groups that the light can do, and you can configure the tail to be the default half turbo or full turbo option. All right, let's get into it. Let's dive into it and talk about this. Okay, so if you're used to the Warrior, you know that it's click to turn on. There's a little light right here that indicates the battery status. It's 60% and above it's green, 59% below it's orange, and it goes red and then blinking off, I believe. Now, if you press and hold while it's on, it cycles through low, medium, high. That's pretty standard. There's a hidden moonlight. So from off, press and hold, and you get to a moonlight. Now, this moonlight is sublumen. Yay! Sublumen! Okay, so we'll measure that on the tube later. If you want to go to turbo, that is a double tap. So from any state, whether it's off or on, just double tap, and you get yourself to turbo. One tap will turn it off, or a double tap again will return to previous mode within reason, because if it's moonlight, low or medium, it would return from turbo to those. If it was high or turbo, it returns to medium. So it's just a safety feature. Like it or lump it, that's the way it is. Now, that's the side switch. Oh, and there's a couple other features that I won't go over, but you can look in the manual. Like, you can lock it out, There's a lockout here, and there's also a timer mode for 3 minutes or 9 minutes. So if you're using it as a bedside table light and you want to pass out and let the light turn off, just look in the manual. It's the same as previous generations, and it's outlined in the paperwork. Okay, tail switch. So 2-stage tail switch, which feels great. I mean, the new switch is so excellent. It's nice and flat. There's these little raised bits right here, which are kind of just a little down. So it tail stands great. It sticks to things that are metal amazingly. So, built-in magnet, if you will, for, the hood of a car if you're working on something in the engine compartment. Now let's talk about this, how it operates. So the tail switch from the back has like kind of a shallow press and a deep press. So the shallow press, if I just tap it, it turns on to kind of a medium mode. And then if I do a shallow press again, it turns off. If I do a deep press, it turns on to something that is now called half turbo. Half turbo. So it's half of the total output. Most people probably aren't going to want that. That's the way it ships out of the box. And the one thing I am going to go over and not tell you to look at the manual for is how to get out of that mode. So I'll show you how to disable the half turbo and make it either tactical strobe or full turbo. Okay, so I'll show that on screen. The switch, if you're unaccustomed to the warrior line, it's really great because you can momentary half press and it stays on, right? Momentary full press and it stays on. Or you can long half press and it stays on as long as you're pressing, and when I let go, it acts like a momentary switch. And same thing with a full press and when I let go. So the tail switch is not only 2 modes, but it's 2 styles, momentary or clicky, kind of, So it's an awesome switch. I can't say enough good things about the Warrior tail switch, and that's why I always raved about the Warrior 3S. It has the same design. Let's take a look at how to set this back up now. Okay, so let's say you think half turbo on the back isn't a great option. I tend to agree. So what you're going to do is you're going to press hard, and then you're going to hold the side switch here for 2 seconds. So press hard, hold the side switch, and then when you see that flashing that you just saw, the long press, the hard press, is now a tactical strobe, okay? You're now in this second group. So if that's what you want, there it is. Now half press is momentary now, okay? It's momentary. Full press is strobe, okay? So there's no half press and stay on. All right, now to get it back, hard long press, tap, it goes steady, and now you're back, right? So now all these modes act like they did before. Now, here's the thing. You're going to probably want to do this right out of the box, okay? You're going to configure that hard press as a full turbo. So what you're going to need is the MCC that it comes with plugged in, and put it on the back like it's charging. Doesn't matter whether it's red or green. Mine is actually green right now. It's fully charged. And what you're going to do is, while it is on, you're going to press and hold for 2 seconds on the side as if you're trying to get the light to lock out. And if you know the way that works, it's going to come on for a second. You keep pressing. When the light goes out, this indicator for the battery is going to turn red to indicate you're in lockout mode. So again, while charging, lock it out. Here we go. Press and hold. You see it comes on for a second, turns off, and now I got a red light here. Is now locked out, right? I can't activate it. But and you see the red light right there. Here's the thing though. Since I locked it out while it was charging, I've now changed, or at least cycled, whether the long hard press is half turbo or turbo. So now I'm full turbo. So if I unlock the light, because it's locked out, so press and hold to unlock, and now it's on, okay? Now when I hard press, I'm getting turbo, okay? So we'll see that on the Lumen tube, but we're now getting turbo, and that's how you do it. And if you want it back to the half turbo, you put it back on the MCC here, Long press until it turns on and turns off, and now it's in lockout. And then when I unlock it out, now, actually, based on my eyes, I must have had it already on turbo. So you can see that I just went from turbo to half turbo and back to turbo, but you get the idea. That's what it is. You're going to do this right out of the box in most cases. I don't know anyone that's going to want half turbo on their tail switch. All right, let's look at the ergonomics. So this light is incredibly small, and yet it's got this very attractive and grippy milling on the side. You got minimal branding here. You've got Olight on one side, Warrior Nano on this side. There's that awesome tail switch that I love. It's nice and flat, but it's magnetic, right? So you can stick to things. Use it like that. The bezel comes off if you need. You use strap wrenches. I'll show that later. This clip, which is a two-way clip, and this light is lightweight enough. It's only 86 grams, so it can easily fit on a ball cap. But by default, these clip retaining rings right here, or I don't know what these are called, but they are up here and it's the other direction. I dislike that direction very much. I always reverse all my Olight clips as soon as I get them. I put them this way for deep carry. And you can see that I have this one set up in the same configuration. Now, here's the thing about this. To get the Warrior Mini 3 to be in that configuration required this extra plastic adapter, which, on the Olight website, when you purchase it, they were allowing people to add this to their cart well after the purchase. I'm hoping, I don't know, but I'm hoping Olight will do the same, because that's what I've got here. They've got the same adapter. It was not included in the box. I really wish Olight would just include it in the box. I'm going to send this video to my Olight representative and say, hey guys, this should just be in the box. But at the very least, I think that they should set up the website so that anyone that buys a Warrior Nano can get this plastic adapter and stick it over here. The adapter is excellent. It's excellent. I know it sounds like, oh, it's plastic. It's an adapter. It's an afterthought. No, guys. It doesn't move. It's really hard to get that clip on there right away and very hard to pull it off. Much harder than it was against the aluminum body on the standard cutouts. So I love it. I have no problem with it. It feels great in my hand. Very secure. Keeps the milling from being marred. I think it's an excellent solution. So yeah, that's about the little adapter and the direction I have the clip. All right, let's talk about charging. So the battery that comes in the light, that comes included, is a modified 18350. So this is pretty much in most regards a standard 18350 battery that Olight has rewrapped, but added both the positive and negative terminals to the head here. It's not protected. The cell will give full amps, but of course, this proprietary style that they have, it accomplishes a couple of things technically for them, like the magnetic charging and lack of a sleeve to get the tail switch to work. It's just, the deal with the devil you make. If you can't stand proprietary batteries, okay, that's fine. That's noted. But, it's what you're going to get with this light. I don't find a big deal because, quite honestly, batteries are not that expensive. I mean, if it's just a thing where you just don't like the idea of it, well, what can I say about that? But that's what it is. The battery is an excellent battery, and, it's got safety features built in, like, reverse polarity because of the nature of the way it's designed. But let's talk about the charging. Okay, so you get the MCC included. I hear people all the time talking about, hey, go USB-C, go USB-C. And, Olight is adding USB-C as an additional option to a lot of their upcoming lights. Like we just saw it on the recent Seeker 4 Pro. And I know of a couple top secret projects that are coming out with Olight, which will make people happy because it has the MCC charging pad on the light as well as USB-C. So Olight's doing that, but they're not going to get rid of this. And I don't think they should. I really don't. It's so excellent. I mean, why would I want to try and unscrew this head to pull this battery out and charge it on my charger Why would I want to try, what, at night, if this is a daily use light, why would I want to, fumble with USB-C cable and get it in there, and then there would have to be a flappy doodle and all that? I mean, that is what I want. That's what I want. I want to be like in my, nighttime stupor, laying in bed, and I just reach over to the bedside table and go, ah, and then it just sticks. This is what I like. Sorry, guys. Flame me for it. I don't find this a problem. I know it's proprietary, but guys, I got like 30 of these things at this point. People always say, well, what if I don't have a cable with me? Well, I got one in my car. I got one in the kitchen. I got one in, you get it. So I don't find it a problem. I like it. I think it's a good connector. All right, let's do some tint testing. So I'll go ahead and turn it on to high. And there's high. Let's blast this thing and see what we get. All right, there you go. So with the included emitter, which is most likely an Osram P9, I'm getting about 7,000 K and slightly under BBL, negative 18 delta UV. Let's go to Moonlight and see what we get. Let's see if I can do that. And we find that it's cool, but neutral. All right, let's do some lumen testing. You can see that my video lights are already giving us 2.3 lumens. If I cover up the tube, we're just getting about 0.3, so let me turn these video lights down. There we go, that's better, less light leak. Okay, so let's, we got this guy in Moonlight. Let's see what we get here. So 0, stick it in there. Look at that, 0.3. Oh, yes, that's a good Moonlight. All right, let's go to low. There's low, we got about 15, medium, 60, high, 400 lumens. Sounds good. Okay, let's go ahead and do the turbo, and we'll do a runtime test as well. So let me get my timer all ready, and turbo. So we see that we hit about a little under 1,200 lumens. I've had over 1,200 lumens before. It might be because I've used the light a little bit during the making of this video so far. But look at the sustain, guys. It's only dropped about 50 lumens since we started. For a very tiny light with low thermal mass, this is excellent. We're in the final stretch here. 5 seconds till ANSI. And ANSI's coming up. There we are. So we're over 1,100 lumens at ANSI. And look, it's not plummeting. We're well over ANSI now. So, excellent, excellent light. Just out of curiosity, let's take a look at what half turbo is. Is it literally half the lumens? I don't even know. Let's find out. So, I'm going to do the little shenanigans here. Unlock it. Okay, here we go. Let's do half turbo. Yeah, it's 600 lumens. So, 600 is half of 1,200. So, there you go. Okay, so I used some strap wrenches off screen, busted it open. So it's just, about getting this bezel off, and then everything just dumps out when you tap. And so here is what the inside looks like. And you can see that it's an Osram P9, at least that's what my ID tells me. And the Osram P9 is a 37 footprint, which is slightly larger than the 35 of, the Nichia 219Bs and 519As. But here's the good news. If you unsolder this, pull that MCPCB out, you can solder your favorite 35 emitter onto the 37 pad. It's a little finicky, meaning that I'd use a little more SMD solder paste than normal, and I wouldn't tap it. I'd kind of let it float up a little higher than normal, but, just give it a try. I've done it successfully, dozens of times. So I was just reassembling the light because I actually haven't done some of the testing yet. But I wanted to point out that if you are looking at this light going, finally, 35 emitter, I can put my Nichia 519A in there. I actually want to make kind of a plea for leaving the Osram P9 in, which sounds really dubious, but here we go. Think of it this way. This light is putting out 1,200 lumens. A Nichia 519A, which is probably the best option you have, is going to put out maybe 850, maybe 900. So that's kind of a significant loss. So if you like 7,000K and cool white, the tint isn't bad. and you do get a lot of efficiency, less heat, and more lumens. So just something to think about. All right, let's take a look at the beam shape of the Warrior 3S versus the Warrior 3 Mini and then the new Nano. So these two have the same emitter in them, right? They're both SFT 40s. But the new Nano has, the Osram P9 in it, so it's going to look different. I'm going to use this red one. I know it's a Warrior 2 Mini, but the reason why is I actually took the emitter out of... Okay, sorry guys, this is getting a little complicated. Sorry. I took the emitter from this one and stuck it in this one. Then this one, who needed an emitter, I put one of the new 3000Ks in it. I'll just show you just for the enthusiasts out there that care about such a thing. So you can see that how much warmer the beam is on the right. But you can also see that they are the same beam shape and size. So it didn't change the characteristics of the beam because they're both SFT 40s. It's just this one's warm. It's 3000K and this one's like the 6000K. All right, so I'm going to be using this one for comparison. Now, let's take a look. Okay. So here is the large Warrior 3S. You can see the beam shape, kind of the focus of it, how it looks, right? Put it on that Stormtrooper there, kind of the torso area. Now let's turn on this one. And, it's interesting. I find that although there's not as many lumens with the Mini, it's a little, they're both really defined, but... You know what it is? It's just this is 6,000, this is 5,000. That's what it is. 6,000 here, 5,000 here. I can see, maybe it's a little more, it is a little more concentrated, isn't it? So here we're like all the way up to the shoulder, down to the bottom of the chest piece right here, there to there. And then on the Warrior 2, Warrior 3 Mini, same thing. You can see it's a little smaller. So, okay, so it's a little more concentrated. So, but these are very similar. All right, now let's take a look at the new Warrior Nano, because that's really what you care about is like, what's the new Nano look like? Well, the new Nano is a little larger and a little less defined. I wouldn't call it ill-defined. I wouldn't say that, but it's definitely a little more spill. So we get this, let's see if I can get a good, let me get a good level here. Okay, so we can see there's this kind of sort of defined hotspot, but there's definitely spill coming out more than on the other models. So yeah, I got a halo. I can see a halo kind of like going like this. See that halo around it? So it's less defined. I think it's great for the size. That's what's going to happen when you change emitters, I suppose. Can you put an SFT 40 into the sky? No. This is a 37 sized footprint. But what you can do, and I keep saying this over and over in the video, is you can put an EGA 519A in there. So that's pretty cool. So there you go. That's the beam comparison for these guys. Okay, let's get some beam shots of the Warrior 3S versus the new Warrior Nano. So there's going to be no comparison. This is an SFT 40. It's a 50-50 footprint, much larger emitter on the left here. And then the one on the right is a 35, well, it's actually a 37 emitter, but it's around 35 footprint. It's about the same size as an EGA 519, but it is actually an Osram P9. Really good for the size of the light though. Gosh, look at the difference. All right, but let's take a look just so we get a sense of comparison here. I'll start with the full-sized Warrior. Again, this foggy night is pretty interesting. Get some good beam shots in the overhead though. You can really see the shape of the beam, especially as I start in the foreground here and move up the street to the end. So that's awesome. Now let's go with the Warrior Nano. And you can see that the beam is also very concentrated on the Nano, but of course, smaller light, smaller optic, it's going to be a little floodier. I am on turbo, and you can also see that it's just not as much light output, but that's to be expected. This is a very diminutive, very small light. Let's look at this nearby tree. There we go. See how defined that hotspot is. Let's go to this tree over here on the left. And, you know, there's no point seeing if we can reach the end of the street. There's just too much fog. It's a really foggy night, but I'm trying to get this video out because of, you know, the sale. You guys want to see before you buy. So here is the Nano. You can see the Nano is very, very high in output, but of course it's not the same as the Warrior 3S. If you want high output, you're just going to go for the big light. But for a small little EDC, it really does put out a ton of lumens. Again, Warrior 3S versus Warrior Nano. So there you go. The Warrior 3S has a really nice defined beam. The Warrior Nano is a little less defined. Great light though. I'm going to tilt down for a second and I'm going to show you the difference between the moonlights, because that's one thing that's awesome about the new Warrior Nano. So here's the Warrior 3S on the moonlight. You can see the moonlight on the ground here. And here is the Warrior Nano, and it is much, much lower. I'm going to have to show that again inside. Conclusion time. Warrior 3 Nano. Incredibly small, incredibly lightweight, feature-packed. Guys, this is an excellent light. I even like the included Osram P9. I don't think I'd normally say that, but, you know, it's on BBL. It's got neutral tint, even slightly rosy on turbo. Yeah, it's cool, but, you know, what do you get for cool? You get high output. You get 1200 lumens on a single. Super energy efficient and a lot of output. Now, you know, also, that Osram P9 gives you a 3737 footprint, right? So go ahead and put your own 3535 in there if you want. Not a hard light to get into. But, you know, you will be losing out on lumens. I'm just going to guess that if, you know, you're a 4500 519A, you're probably going to get about 800, 850 lumens if I had to guess. You know, the warmer tints might get even lower. So you can put a 3000 in there. You might get your 700. 700 versus 1200. Big deal. So, I gotta say, I think this is a really stellar light. I think they've done a bang-up job. You know, something I forgot to mention, there's no proximity sensor. Yeah, no proximity sensor, so nothing to bug you there. So, excellent light. Strong recommend by me. I'm going to carry this for sure. I mean, I might swap it. I don't know, actually. I might leave it as an Osram P9. Can you believe that? Yeah. I might do that. I mean, I see the benefit of the efficiency and the brightness. So I think there's a time and place for high CRI and warm colors. And I think there's a time and place for just light and output. All right, guys. So, you know, this was announced yesterday, October 19th. The sale goes on the 24th. So definitely pick it up on the sale. That's when you're going to get the best price. I don't know if they'll sell out. Sometimes they do. Also, look at that. That's cute. An i3T Halloween. It's got these little Halloween skulls on it. And look at that kind of nice shape. New shape for them. So I'm assuming this is going to be a free gift tier. That's an assumption I'm just making. But cute light. Cute Halloween light. So go ahead and pick this up. Also, today I'm releasing my video about the Arcfeld Pro, which is also a strong recommend. It's everything I liked about the Arcfeld, which I'm going to be honest, the Arcfeld didn't get a lot of pocket time from me, and I'll say more in the video for the Arcfeld, but the new one solves all the problems I had. So, awesome light. All right, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.